Trump personally stepped in to cut health funding for Puerto Rico in new spending deal, report says.
Here's a summary of the article.
Donald Trump stepped in to cut Medicaid funding for Puerto Rico by more than half of the original amount that was agreed to during bipartisan negotiations, according to a new report. Republican and Democratic leaders agreed to provide the U.S. territory with $12 billion over the next 4 years as part of a $1.4 trillion spending bill, averting another government shutdown and sending crucial health funding to Puerto Rico after it was ravaged by Hurricane Maria 2 years ago. The president's reported move has meanwhile undermined Puerto Rico's funding negotiations, as it seeks a long-term solution to the frequent funding extensions the island has been forced to request from the federal government every few years. Mr. Trump has frequently suggested Puerto Rico was corrupt, at one point referring to it as one of the most corrupt places on earth and seemingly undeserving of U.S. aid in the wake of the catastrophic hurricane that struck the island, which was responsible for nearly 3,000 deaths in total. Chase Jennings, a spokesperson for the White House Office of Management and Budget, told the news outlet the U.S. has faced historical waste in Puerto Rico and that additional funding was not needed or fiscally responsible. The Puerto Rico Federal Affairs Administration, which coordinates funding negotiations between the federal government and U.S. territory, also celebrated the passage of the spending bill in a statement that read, "We will continue to work hand in hand with the federal government to achieve a longer-term funding mechanism that provides stable healthcare to the people of Puerto Rico." With another funding cliff looming in 2 years under the new agreement, Puerto Rico may continue to lack the certainty it needs to commit to long-term increases of its very low payment rates to health care providers to stem their alarming exodus to the mainland. Robert Greenstein, who works for the left-leaning Center on Budget and Policy Priorities think tank, told Politico.
This post received a score of 29,277, with an upvote ratio of 86%. Here are the top comments in response to this article.
Perhaps Puerto Ricans should move to Kentucky and South Carolina just long enough to vote in the 2020 elections.
Didn't a fair amount move to Florida due to the hurricane and lack of assistance?
Not enough though. Too many of them went to New York City where they became electorally invisible.
Alternatively, we could just make Puerto Rico a state considering they've been citizens for the last 102 years.
There is a better chance of Republicans taking statehood away from California and New York.
In a perfect world, D.C. and PR become states and, like, North and South Dakota get merged into one. I know, and we'd all wake up tomorrow with a smoothly running single-payer healthcare system and wealth inequality magically resolved. The Senate is so far out of balance with the population, it's ridiculous. It's just going to get worse, too.
Greater than North and South Dakota get merged into one. The new state shall be called both Dakotas.
Megakota. I would vote to make this happen. I'd vote to give the land back to the Lakota, Dakota tribes in the region instead since we're talking about hypotheticals.
It's almost impressive how cartoonishly evil this piece of shit is.
Right? If this was a TV show I would have stopped watching for how stupid and unbelievable the plot is.
Dear Kentucky. Please get your shit together and vote out that traitorous, corrupt, morally bankrupt piece of shit named Mitch McConnell. Thank you. Concerned free-thinking citizens of America.
I try. Mostly I get unfriended on FB and avoided in public. Granted, personal victory. Not so much a US one.
If people unfriend you on Facebook for how you vote, they weren't friends.
What if it was my mom? Not even kidding.
And this is why the Republican Party is demonized. IDK If you're just 1 BC you're fiscally conservative. Your party is killing people for profits. Fucking fix it.
They aren't fiscally conservative anymore. Republicans now vote on God, guns, and abortion.
Right. Fiscally conservative my ass, unless that means overspending on the military and cutting vital domestic programs. They're fiscally conservative when the Democratic Party wants to do something.
If they were truly fiscally conservative, they'd be all for some form of socialized healthcare as it's been proven time and time again to be cheaper than the current system we have.
Does anyone remember when Trump said he would end Obamacare on day one because it didn't work and he already had a plan to make healthcare so much better because healthcare isn't complicated? That's right. I'm talking to you Trump voters who still support him. Do you remember anything you were promised that still hasn't happened yet?
This video was automatically created by Reddit to speech. The article and comments in this video were selected from Reddit according to their upvotes, and any paraphrasing was performed by smmry.com, without any human intervention.